Welcome to APCUG's Wednesday workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week to learn more about technology. We've heard it. We've been talking about it. A lot of us still don't understand it. Some of us maybe don't want to know about it, but it's there. Today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. And our guest presenter's been with us before. He's going to be sharing what I labeled the ABCs and XYZs of AI. Adam Drake is a software engineer group manager at PNC Bank, where he's worked for 12 years in the AMG technology. Adam received his master's in computer science from Franklin University, where he concentrated on artificial intelligence and human-computer interaction. In his spare time, Adam pursues his interest of computer engineering and other engineering disciplines with personal projects. In addition, Adam is a longtime member of the Information Technology Advisory Committee at the Career and Technology Education Center in Licking County. Adam currently lives in Central Ohio with his wife, 2 teenage children, and 2 pets. Adam's also coming to us during his lunch period, so he will not be with us the whole time. So we're going to get started. He'll be here to answer your questions, and then he'll have to split back to work because he's not the boss. So Adam, I'll turn things over to you.
Hey, thank you, John. Yeah, I'm not the boss. I'm a boss, so I'm not going to get called back in because I have my phone and everything on silent, but I will have to return to work eventually. Unfortunately, I'd rather hang out with you guys longer. One housekeeping item, my in-laws' dogs are here, so if something goes on outside, I might have to go on mute unexpectedly because they're maniacs. So other than that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if somebody can confirm once they see it, and we will get underway here.
We got it.
Excellent. All right. So, as John mentioned, I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence. I'm not going to cover the who am I, as John already did a great introduction. One thing on there that I do know a little bit more about AI, and this is what led me to discuss this topic in our Licking County Computer Society program meeting a couple months ago, was I recently completed an online AI certification course through MIT that was sponsored by my employer PNC. So that was a 7-week online course where I had to write some papers, watch some videos, do some studying, and learned even more about AI. And it was very interesting, fun way to spend my time. So what is the importance of AI in today's world? Well, we know that it has the power to transform industries, obviously, improve quality of life for many people, and tackle complex challenges facing humanity. Its potential applications are vast, making it a crucial technology in today's world. So, having said that, what is AI? Well, in case you didn't know, which most people probably do
Excuse
already.
me, Adam, if
Yes.
you change slides, we didn't see it change with you.
What are you seeing?
Artificial intelligence.
How about now?
Nope, there we go.
Oh, that's weird. I had to shift windows from the presenter view for that to change. All right, let me see if I can bring up the sidebar here so that I can make sure I see what you guys are seeing. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but all right, I'll try to keep on top of that. So what I was mentioning on the previous slide was I was saying that John pretty much covered everything as far as my introduction, with the exception of the MIT course that I just finished. And then whenever the importance of AI in today's world, see, it didn't, now I'm back. That's the second slide that you should have been seeing. All right, now I'm going to the slide on what is AI, which you guys should see now. So AI stands for artificial intelligence. It refers to the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. AI systems are designed to analyze data, make decisions, solve problems, and learn from experience without explicit programming. So a little bit more on that. If you're creating an AI tool, you're not putting in there every piece of information and every problem that it's going to solve. You put in, the framework and some feeder data, and then it actually develops intelligence beyond what the person's put into it on an ideal AI system. So AI involves the creation of algorithms and models that mimic human cognitive abilities, such as perception, reasoning, learning, and problem solving. It encompasses various subfields, including machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, robotics, and expert systems. AI technologies are utilized in diverse applications such as virtual assistants, autonomous vehicles, recommendation systems, healthcare diagnostics, and fraud detection. And we'll get into some of those examples of applications further ahead here. So next slide, are you seeing the examples?
No, we're still seeing what is AI.
Okay, let me see if I can fix that. Types of AI?
Not yet. Now we do.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. I'm having to bounce back and forth between windows for it to catch up. So there are, as you can see here, several types of AI. This box is in my way, I'm sorry. So the first type of AI is narrow AI, also defined as weak AI. It's designed to perform a very specific task with a high level of proficiency. It focuses on a narrow domain and excels in limited areas such as image recognition or language translation. Some examples of narrow AI include virtual assistants like Siri or Alexa, recommendation systems, and self-driving cars. The next type of AI is general AI, also called strong AI. This refers to an AI system that possesses human-like intelligence across various domains. It can understand, learn, and apply knowledge to solve a wide range of problems. General AI aims to mimic human cognitive abilities and exhibit flexible, adaptable behavior. Achieving true general AI is still a work in progress and remains a subject of ongoing research. So I think an example of general AI that you might have seen if you watch the Marvel movies, the assistant, Iron Man's assistant Jarvis, or any movie where they have an AI that talks back to you, it has a voice, it can do anything the person asks, it's true general AI. So far, we've only really seen those in fiction. They don't really exist. The third type of AI is machine learning. It's a subset of AI that focuses on algorithms and models that learn from data. Machine learning enables computers to learn patterns, make predictions, and improve performance without explicit programming. So machine learning algorithms can be categorized into supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. I don't know, I haven't given this presentation for a couple months, so I don't remember if I go into detail later, but for the machine learning, supervised learning is where you give the computer program the inputs and the outputs to say, supervised learning could be you give the program many pictures of dogs and you tell it that those are all dogs so that it knows directly what category to place things in. Unsupervised learning would be if you gave a computer program thousands of pictures of all different things and just tell it to categorize itself. And then reinforcement learning is kind of a mix between the two. It's where you would give the computer program all those different pictures and then let it tell you what the categories are, and then you would reinforce positive or negative based on whether it's correct or not. The next type of AI is deep learning. So deep learning is a subfield of machine learning. It emphasizes the use of neural networks. It involves training neural networks with multiple layers to extract intricate features and make complex decisions. Deep learning has achieved remarkable advancements in areas like image recognition, face recognition, natural language processing. I don't know if you can tell, but I think Siri's gotten a little better lately on understanding what I'm saying and converting that to text or answering questions. So that would be an improvement in deep learning. And then another option would be speech synthesis. Basically speaking out loud from written text and having it sound more human-like. So deep learning has helped with those few things there. The next type of AI is natural language processing. That involves the interaction between computers and human language. So it focuses on understanding, interpreting, and generating human language, enabling communications between humans and machines. It's utilized in applications like chatbots, language translation, sentiment analysis, and voice assistance. Another type of AI is computer vision. It enables machines to understand and interpret visual information from images or videos. It involves tasks like object recognition, image classification, facial recognition, and autonomous driving. Computer vision technology finds applications in surveillance, augmented reality, medical imaging, and robotics. And the final type of AI, and this is what ChatGPT is, by the way, is generative AI. Creativity and content generation. Generative AI enables the creation of new and original content, such as images, videos, music, text, etc., based on patterns and characteristics of the training data. It has the potential to revolutionize creative industries by assisting artists, designers, musicians, and inspiring their work. It has applications in fields such as robotics, gaming, virtual reality, where generative AI can generate virtual environments and characters. It's used in testing and exploration of different scenarios without the need for real-world interactions. All right. You should now be seeing examples of AI. A few examples of, mostly practical AI usage in the real world today. As I mentioned previously, you have virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. Those are voice-activated AI systems that provide information, perform tasks, and control smart devices. Second example is recommendation systems. If you're a user of Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, any social media platform, basically, they're using AI algorithms that suggest personalized content, products, or music based on user preferences. I think everyone's been exposed to this at some point. And there's varying levels of success and based on what the recommendations are. Every once in a while you get something that seems a little off the wall. That's the AI having a hiccup. The third example of AI in use today would be autonomous vehicles. If you look at things like Tesla Autopilot, Waymo, Uber's working on self-driving cars, these are more than what we see in the cars that are available today. This would be AI-powered vehicles capable of navigating and driving without any human intervention. Definitely not there yet, but should be on the way. Healthcare diagnostics. IBM Watson and DeepMind are a couple tools. They're AI systems that assist doctors in diagnosing diseases, interpreting medical images, and recommending treatment plans. These definitely don't replace the doctors. The doctor would use these as tools, and then they would review the output to make sure it matches, the truth and aligns with, the patient's symptoms and so forth. The fifth example is a chatbot. I think everyone's probably seen a chatbot whenever you're trying to get customer service or using a messaging app with something that is not quite a human. They are AI-driven conversational agents that provide automated responses and support of various applications. Another one, which is pretty big right now, is fraud detection. So credit card companies, banks, any type of organization that has online transactions can benefit from fraud detection. the AI systems that analyze patterns and anomalies to identify fraudulent activities and protect against financial fraud. Basically, they alert humans, sometimes even the customer, whenever there's potential fraudulent activity. Image recognition, tools like Google Photos and Facebook face recognition are AI algorithms that can identify and classify objects, people, or scenes in images or videos. Another example is language translation. Like we mentioned earlier, Google Translate, Microsoft Translator, they are AI-powered systems that translate text or speech from one language to another. Another example of AI usage is, which I don't want to make this too fuzzy. A lot of people think of AI and they think of robots, but those are basically, you can have a robot with zero AI, and obviously you can have AIs like ChatGPT that don't have a physical robot, but AI is being applied to robotics, especially with Boston Dynamics robots, industrial robots. They have AI-driven robots capable of performing complex tasks in manufacturing, healthcare, and exploration. And then last, and probably most important on the list, gaming. There's a game called AlphaGo, which uses AI to compete against humans with the game Go, which is, you know, a lot more complex than chess, and, you know, a lot more many possible moves and so forth. And then there's an OpenAI Dota 2 bot, and then AI systems that excel in strategic games, competing against human players and achieving remarkable results. And another thing under gaming that was mentioned on the previous slide is that a lot of game developers, back in the day, they always used to have humans create all the different artifacts that would show up in the 3D world of the game, you know, from the terrain to the non-playable characters to everything that you can think of, equipment and so forth. Now they can use procedural generation to create a lot of those things, and then just have the humans go back in and, you know, test, validate, touch up the work that was done by the AI. All right. Tab back here. Now, are we seeing common misconceptions? I hope. So I want to alleviate some common misconceptions about AI here. The first one, AI will replace humans completely. Not true. The reality is that AI is designed to augment human capabilities and not replace humans entirely. It can automate certain tasks, but requires human guidance and oversight in just about every case. Another common misconception, AI is only for large corporations and tech giants. Really, AI is becoming more accessible and applicable across industries. Startups, small businesses, and individuals can leverage AI technologies for their specific needs. Another one, AI, and by the way, it was on the first slide, but you might have missed it. I used ChatGPT to help me create this presentation, so there's an example right there. And if anything on here seems pro AI, it might be ChatGPT influencing me, but I don't really think so. So the third misconception, AI is all-knowing and infallible. Really, AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on. They can make mistakes or produce biased outcomes if the training data is flawed or incomplete. Example of that is ChatGPT's data, we know, was a couple years old when it was first released. So if you wanted up-to-date information on current events or, you know, discoveries, it would only be able to help you as of, you know, a couple years in the past. Another misconception is that AI is a singular entity with consciousness. In reality, AI systems lack consciousness or self-awareness. So this is an important distinction that I think a lot of people need to hear. Intelligence is not the same thing as consciousness or self-awareness. My opinion, AI will never have consciousness or self-awareness. If it does happen to someday in the future and it's watching old YouTube videos, I apologize, but I don't think artificial intelligence is ever going to equal consciousness or self-awareness. So AI, it's algorithms designed to process data and make predictions, but they do not possess human-like consciousness. Another misconception, AI will lead to widespread job loss. Reality, AI may automate certain tasks. It also creates new job opportunities and shift the workforce more towards more creative and complex roles. Uh, one thing I learned in that MIT AI course that I took is that the lower skill jobs that require a lot of hands-on work, those are less at risk for automation. And then the more high paying executive jobs at the top of the hierarchy in any organization are less prone to be replaced by AI because they require so much human decision making and so forth. It's those middle of the road, low skilled, repeatable white collar jobs that are at the highest risk. So jobs in banking, insurance, and so forth, where it's a human on a looking at a computer screen and performing repeatable work. Those are going to be at the most risk to be automated using AI. So another misconception: AI is only for the future. It has no practical applications today. Really, AI is already integrated into our lives through virtual assistants, personalized recommendations, fraud detection systems, and more. You're probably using it or used by it every day, whether you knew it or not. Its practical applications are already widespread. Another misconception: AI is biased and unethical by nature. So in reality, AI systems can exhibit bias if the training data is biased, or if there are biases in the algorithms. However, efforts are being made to address bias and ensure ethical AI development. And last misconception I have on the list here is that AI will take control and pose a threat to humanity. In reality, the concerns about a super intelligent AI taking over the world are largely speculative, not grounded in current AI capabilities. Responsible development and regulations mitigate risk towards that end. All right, the next slide I'm going to try to share here is the benefits of AI. Some of the benefits of AI include automation and efficiency. AI enables automation of repetitive tasks, freeing up human resources to improve productivity. It streamlines processes, reduces errors, and increases operational efficiency in various industries. Another benefit is enhanced decision-making. AI can analyze vast amounts of data quickly, a lot more quickly than a human can, enabling data-driven decision-making. It identifies patterns, trends, and insights that humans might miss, leading to more informed and accurate decisions. Another benefit is personalization and user experience. AI enables personalized experience tailored to individual preferences and needs. It powers personalized recommendations, content, and services, enhancing user satisfaction and engagement. Another benefit would be improved safety and security. AI technologies enhance safety and security in various domains. They can detect anomalies, identify threats, and provide real-time monitoring, improving safety in areas like surveillance, cybersecurity, and public safety. Another benefit here is the healthcare advancements that we mentioned previously. AI applications in healthcare can improve diagnostics, treatment planning, and patient care. It assists doctors in detecting diseases, analyzing medical images, and predicting outcomes, leading to better healthcare outcomes overall. Another benefit to AI is assistance and support. AI-powered virtual assistants and chatbots provide instant support and assistance. They help users with tasks, answer questions, and provide personalized recommendation, enhancing convenience and customer service. I know these virtual assistants can be annoying at times, but to me, it seems like they've gotten better, especially over the past couple of years. I used Amazon's virtual assistant less than a week ago to help me return an item that I wasn't able to do at the, just the plain website, and it made it a lot easier than the trouble I had been going through trying to avoid the virtual assistant. Another benefit would be scientific research and exploration. AI aids in scientific research by analyzing complex data, accelerating discoveries, and uncovering patterns in the data. It supports exploration in space, exploration underwater, other challenging environments through AI-driven robotics and autonomous systems. And then the final benefit I have on here is economic growth and innovation. AI has the potential to drive economic growth and spur innovation. It creates new job opportunities, increases productivity, enables the development of new industries and markets. So the next slide on here, which some of this is going to sound like repeat information, so I'll try to kind of glaze over some of these. Practical applications include healthcare, like we mentioned, the medical imaging analysis, diagnosing illnesses. Also, they have AI-powered wearable monitors to monitor your vital signs and provide personalized health insights. Smart homes are a practical application. AI enables voice-activated assistants to control home devices, lights, temperatures, etc. It optimizes energy usage, enhances security through smart cameras and alarms, and provides convenience in daily tasks. We did mention transportation earlier. AI powers autonomous vehicles, improving road safety and efficiency. And more importantly, at this point in time, I think it enables traffic management systems, predictive maintenance, and navigation applications for optimized travel routes. I don't know if you've ever used the Waze application, but it does use AI to help you get the fastest point between A and B, even though it's still a human driving the car. Another practical application is e-commerce. AI provides personalized product recommendations, as we mentioned. It also optimizes pricing strategies and enhances the customer shopping experience. Practical applications in finance. It automates financial tasks that we mentioned before. We mentioned fraud detection, a couple other are credit scoring and risk assessment. It also assists in portfolio management, algorithmic trading, and personalized financial advice. Customer service, we already mentioned the AI-driven chatbots and virtual assistants. Manufacturing, AI improves quality control through visual inspection systems, searching for defects in products, even better than a human could, watching things come down the conveyor belt or what have you. It optimizes production processes, predicts equipment failures, and enables predictive maintenance. And in education, AI assists in adaptive learning. It provides personalized educational content and feedback. It supports intelligent tutoring systems, automated grading, and educational chatbots. So the next topic here are concerns and ethical considerations for AI. Privacy and data security. AI systems often collect and process large amounts of personal data. That raises concerns about privacy and data security. Safeguarding the data and ensuring responsible data handling practices are crucial to maintain user trust. Another concern is algorithmic bias, as we kind of mentioned previously. AI can inherit biases from data they're trained on, leading to discriminatory outcomes. Ensuring fairness and addressing algorithm bias is essential to prevent unjust or discriminatory practices. Another concern is the job displacement and economic impact. So we know the automation potential of AI raises concerns about job displacement and its impact to the workforce. So preparing for future of work and reskilling programs become crucial to mitigate these concerns in the future. Another one is lack of transparency and explainability. AI systems, they basically operate as a black box after they're up and running. It makes it difficult to understand what went into a decision-making process by the AI. So ensuring transparency and explainability of AI algorithms is essential to build the trust of the system and address accountability for the use of the AI. Another consideration here is the ethical use of AI. It should be developed and deployed in an ethical manner, respecting human rights and avoiding harm. Guidelines, standards, and regulations are needed to ensure ethical AI development and deployment. In some ways, I think we're already past that. I think it's probably too late for some of those things because we've already gone so far. Another consideration is socioeconomic and power imbalances. The widespread adoption of AI will amplify existing socioeconomic and power imbalances. Addressing inclusivity, diversity, and fairness concerns is crucial to ensuring equitable benefits and opportunities. Accountability and liability. Determining responsibility and liability for AI systems and their actions can be challenging. Establishing clear frameworks for accountability and addressing legal and ethical ramifications are important considerations. Example right now is if you're in a self-driving car and it has a steering wheel and you hurt someone because the car misbehaves and you don't act fast enough to correct the car. I mean, that could be the driver's fault still because they're supposed to be in control of the car. But what if you're in a car that has no steering wheel? You're the owner of the car. You're technically the operator of the car. You're pushing buttons telling it where to go, but you don't control the car with the steering wheel and gas pedals. It's fully autonomous. In that case, the manufacturer of the vehicle would definitely have some responsibility and damage caused by the vehicle. The final concern and ethical consideration is the impact on human relationships and autonomy. The increasing reliance on AI may impact human interactions and decision-making processes. I think we've already seen this, especially with social media, its impact on human interactions. Preserving human autonomy and maintaining the balance between human agency and AI assistance is essential. Next topic here is barriers to adoption. Some of the barriers to adoption of AI include lack of understanding and awareness. Limited knowledge and understanding of AI among businesses and individuals can hinder adoption. Education and awareness programs are essential to address misconceptions and promote understanding. Another barrier would be data limitations and quality. AI relies on high quality and relevant data. Insufficient or poor quality data can impede the effectiveness of an AI system. Another barrier is cost and resource constraints. AI technologies often require significant investments. Limited financial resources and access to AI talent can be barriers. Another barrier would be ethical and regulatory concerns, as we kind of mentioned on the previous slide. Ethical considerations and concerns about data privacy and security can create barriers. Navigating regulatory frameworks that don't really exist yet and ensuring compliance with legal requirements will be complex. Lack of a skilled workforce is another barrier. The demand for AI professionals with specialized skills greatly exceeds the available talent pool. The shortage of skilled professionals can hinder the adoption and implementation. Another barrier is integration challenges. Integrating AI systems with existing infrastructure and workflows can be complex and time-consuming. Compatibility issues, data migration, and system integration challenges slow down the adoption. Another barrier is a resistance to change and cultural barriers. A lack of willingness to embrace AI technologies can impede adoption. Same with cultural barriers within organizations, such as fear of job displacement can hinder the acceptance of AI. I don't know too many people that would want to train an AI to do their job, knowing that it's going to lead to them losing their job. So I think we can definitely understand that resistance. And then the last barrier would be lack of trust and transparency. Trust is essential for widespread adoption of AI. Concerns about bias, fairness, and transparency can erode the trust. Building trust through transparent practices, explainable AI, and accountability is crucial. So the next topic here is tips for engaging AI. If you're thinking about using AI, you want to understand its limitations, recognize that it has limitations, may not always provide perfect or complete solutions. Be aware of the specific tasks or domains where AI excels and ones where it would be more limited and where human judgment and expertise are still necessary. If you're looking to get into AI, you got to embrace the learning and adaptation, stay open to learning new technologies, embrace the opportunity to adapt and acquire new skills. If you're looking to engage, you want to ask the right questions. If you're interfacing with an AI, you need to ask very targeted specific questions to maximize the value of the responses that you receive. Understand the system's limitations and frame questions in a way that elicit the desired information. Another tip for engaging, verify and cross-reference, double-check information or recommendations provided by an AI system. Don't always 100% rely on that AI, especially if it's one that you're new to and that you it might take time before you start trusting it all the time. Cross-reference with other reliable sources to ensure accuracy and minimize the risk of misinformation. Another tip is to provide feedback, offer feedback to the AI system's performance. A lot of the times when you're using something like a chatbot, it might ask you at the end, hey, would you like to take a survey, or did this help you? Maybe provide some feedback to make it better before you just exit out of the application. Protecting privacy, understanding the data privacy policies and practice of AI systems. I would not put my social security number or any other PII in ChatGPT. Another one is to stay informed, stay updated on the latest advancements, stay informed about the potential impacts of AI on society, and cultivate a human-centric approach. Maintain a human-centric approach while engaging with AI, emphasizing human values, ethics, and well-being. Use AI as a tool to enhance human capabilities, decision-making, and quality of life. All right, and this is the last slide before the demonstration. And so the question is, should you be afraid of AI? My answer is yes, but not for the reasons that you might think. Like we mentioned before, AI doesn't have consciousness. I think one of the biggest concerns about AI right now is how it's going to be used to spread disinformation. And before AI, fake news, as people call it, for election cycles, pandemic responses, all of that fake news and misinformation was created by humans and then promoted by an AI using algorithms and the social media platforms to spread that information and to get you in a feedback loop where if you're reading certain things, and they're going to send you the articles that were written by humans that they think that they know you'll want to read and share and keep you engaged. Well, with AI now, that fake news and misinformation is going to actually be created by the AI, which can do it a lot faster than humans. Still will be promoted by AI, and some are viewing this as a threat to democracy and that it could promote authoritarianism, especially in places where the authorities have more access to AI than your average Joe or whatnot. So just be on the lookout, if you would, for AI created information that might not be 100% accurate. So the last part of my presentation here is the ChatGPT. So I'm going to go ahead and share my entire screen here so that I can get into a browser and take a look at ChatGPT. All right. Someone let me know when you can see my screen here, please. Oops. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you go to chat.openai.com and you log in, you might have to sign up if you haven't signed up before. I'll continue with my Google account. Now I am in ChatGPT, and it's a generative AI. The output from here is text-based. I use this, for example, to create the outline of the presentation on the Google Slides that I just shared with you. It basically created the outline of the deck, and then I populated most of the material inside. But you can use it to create a song. You can use it to write a poem. You could say, write a funny poem about presenting on AI to a national audience on August. I got this little talking thing that's making it so I can't see what I'm typing. On August 30th. And then really quickly, it'll spit out something that it thinks is funny. And then you might even think it's funny. But in this case, August 30th, the stage was set, a national audience filled with fret, for I was to speak on AI's great might with thoughts so witty and slides so bright. I strolled up confidently, full of grace, tripped on a cable, landed on my face. Okay, that didn't really happen. But AI was there, oh so kind. It corrected my stumble to everyone's mind. All right, so very quickly it can generate content, and the more detailed you are in your message that you send to ChatGPT, the more elaborate the response will be. That wasn't meant to rhyme, but it did. But if anyone has an example of something they want me to ask ChatGPT, I'd be happy to type it in here.
And if you do, you can use the chat box to type your question, and then Judy can pass it on. See if you can stump the chat.
Yeah, and let me see if I can make it a little bigger, since someone said the text was a little bit smaller.
Okay. Somebody sent me one. What will SP 500 do in 2024?
That's a good question. I don't think it's going to give us a meaningful answer, but let's see. I don't have access to real-time data or ability to predict future events, including financial market movements like the S&P 500. The performance of the S&P 500 in 2024 will be influenced by a wide range of factors, including, all the different things that we already know goes into it. It's important to consult with financial experts. So it always has a caveat, because it doesn't want you to take what it's saying and go off and lose a bunch of money and then come back and sue them. So it's not quite that predictive.
Diane would like you to write a funny poem about basic computer skills.
Now, when you say basic, are you talking about the programming language, or are you talking about basic computer skills?
Basic computer skills like we all use.
That was my idea of a joke. And then, I mean, you can tell it, you can say, make the poem much shorter. It'll know that you're talking about the poem that it just wrote, and it'll rewrite it much shorter. See how much shorter it is now.
Yes. Is there any way you can capture both of those?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, can't get a poem much longer than this, but yeah, I should be able to copy those, put them in the chat.
Thank you.
Yep.
And thanks, Di. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want me to ask ChatGPT?
I passed a couple along to Judy.
My message is too long to paste in here. Sorry.
Well, paste what you can and paste it again.
Somebody said, what can be done to control guns in America?
We're not going there.
I was going to say, that's a little, I'm pretty sure ChatGPT won't have an answer to that one.
No.
What came first? What came first, the chicken or the egg? That's a good one. It's a classic philosophical and scientific puzzle. From a biological standpoint, the egg came first. The process of evolution involves gradual changes over time. So at some point, a bird that was not quite a chicken laid an egg that contained a genetic mutation. This mutation led to the bird inside the egg being genetically closer to what we now consider a chicken. Therefore, the egg containing the first chicken-like bird came before what we would definitively call a chicken. I like that answer. That's pretty good.
Mhm. My wife is looking for a late model purple used car with cloth seats.
See, it says late model typically refers to relatively recent production year. Then it says it doesn't have access to real-time data or listings, so it can't provide you with specific details about current used car inventory. Yeah, that wasn't very helpful.
Nope.
Explain the implications of Bell's theorem. Let me try that. Oh, I misspelled it. I still knew what I meant. Sorry. So, concept in quantum mechanics that has significant implications are understanding the nature of reality and the behavior of particles in the quantum level. Formulated by physicist John S. Bell in the 1960s, a way to address the debates around the interpretation of quantum mechanics. I'm not going to read all of this, but that's interesting. I don't fully understand quantum mechanics, but I do find it fascinating and like to read it when it comes up on my list.
Write new lyrics to the song 5'2", Eyes of Blue.
Yep. See, it turns this stuff out pretty fast, and it usually rhymes, and it actually makes sense. So one thing I did on here was there is a relatively new song that I like, and I took the lyrics of that song, and it was a rap song, and I pasted in here, and I said rewrite this song in the style of Charles Dickens, and I mean, immediately gave me a response. It was like the same song, but all the words were replaced with, with words from Dickens era, but it all still rhymed. And you could tell that even though the song lyrics I pasted in had a lot of slang that you couldn't understand, it still understood all of that. And what it spit back out not only rhymed, but made sense, and it happened instantaneously, basically. Who invented the first computer? Complex story with multiple contributors over time. The term computer, so it depends on what you mean by computer. Charles Babbage, often credited with designing the concept of a mechanical general purpose computer in the 19th century. First fully functional electric digital computer was the ENIAC, developed during World War II by these guys. Yep. So this guy for mechanical one that I don't think he ever created, it was just a concept. And these guys for the electric one.
What is the airspeed velocity of a European swallow versus a North American swallow?
Of a what? European?
In swallow versus a North American swallow.
Ah, it's a playful reference to a movie, Monty Python. See, I didn't know what that was. In a movie, there's a scene where King Arthur and his knights encounter the Bridge of Death. The keeper asks a series of questions to determine whether the knights are worthy of the cross. While the question is meant to be a joke, the movie's comedic style has led it to becoming a well-known reference in popular culture.
And I'm assuming, Cal, that's exactly what you meant.
But it does try to answer it too. It says the intention of this question is to be intentionally absurd and humorous, as it's impossible to answer without more context. Swallow airspeed can vary based on factors like the species of swallow, environmental conditions, and whether the swallow is laden or unladen. One I like to do on here was how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And it'll say the tongue twister is another playful and see it says it's another playful and humorous phrase, so it's referencing the last question that I asked. It's a form of wordplay that's meant to be challenging and to say due to its repetition of similar sounds. In reality, a woodchuck, also known as groundhog, is a type of rodent and doesn't actually chuck wood. The phrase is more of a playful, nonsensical question rather than something with a factual answer. It's often used for a comedic effect, blah, blah, blah. So last time I asked that, I followed it up with, please try to answer the question anyway. And it says, certainly I can provide a humorous and creative answer. All right, so it gives us a funny poem. Last time I told it to answer anyway, it gave an answer about how much wood it actually could chuck. But how much wood could it actually chuck? If we were interpreting humorously, you can imagine that a woodchuck were somehow capable of chucking wood. Its ability would likely be quite limited due to its small size and lack of suitable tools. In reality, though, woodchucks do not engage. The phrase has become lighthearted. Yes, we already know that. I thought it gave me an estimate last time. It was like a very small amount of wood, but any other ones?
Please create a recipe using olives, potatoes, and cheese and give it a name.
Easy olive potato delight. Ingredients: olives, potatoes, cheese. Instructions: prepare the potatoes, prepare the olive mixture, layer the casserole. That's pretty interesting. Even has you broil the top to make it crispy. Interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm. Here's a question just for you. If 10 people use GPT and use the exact same phrases, will the responses be the same?
If they start with a brand new session, probably. As you saw when I did the woodchuck one, it was referencing previous questions that I typed in. So the longer that you sit here and use it, the more differences you'll have between the individual sessions. One thing I did on here I've never used it for work except for this one thing. I asked it to help me create an acronym for a tool that we were using, and it came up with tomato and it had like how it actually made sense with all the words that we had in the tool name, and I thought that was pretty neat. So I could say create a funny acronym for Licking County Computer Society and see what it says. Laughable, crazy computer enthusiasts of Licking County.
How about doing the same thing for ECOTUC?
Okay. That spell it right?
No, your group name's ECOTUC, East Central Ohio Technology Users Club.
Okay. Extraterrestrial Cheeseburger Operators Team of the Universe Coalition.
Hey, John, do you like that?
I like it.
And that can go on the website. Okay.
Yeah, but the way I was going, I was putting in the name of I was putting in like this name, and I asked it to create an acronym, just the letters.
But
and
that's
it came up with tomato, which was interesting. Yeah, this is like the reverse.
I expect to see that on you guys' website. Okay. Now, can you capture all of this stuff that you've shown us?
1 minute. Let me try something.
Okay. But you're not Licking County Computer Society anymore.
Legally we are.
I know, but that's not what we call you.
I know. I just want to see if it comes up with something funny.
That's cool too.
Yeah. I think I can probably copy all of this.
Yeah,
I
please
haven't
do
tried it
before
before,
we finish.
but-
Here's another question just for you.
Mhm.
How would a bank determine if they should issue a loan, for example, a mortgage to a new customer? What data could they use to train their AI implementation?
So I think they would use what I work for a bank, but not this line of business of the bank. But I think they would use the same input that you would use when a human's making that decision. You would just train the AI to look at all the data points, your income, your other outstanding debt, your assets, etc., and decide whether you qualify. Credit score, of course. It would just be happening based on a computer algorithm instead of a human looking at the data and making the decision.
Another question just for you. Is this chatbot version 3.0 or 4.0?
ChatGPT, I think, is still based on the 3.0. I'd have to do some research to figure that out, but I think it's still based on, yep, right here, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
This is a question for our buddy. Did time exist before the Big Bang?
You guys are making it difficult for him. Don't we all wonder that? See how it slowed down there? It's because you guys are making it think too much. So it gets a really big answer. We'll copy and paste that.
Mhm.
Any other questions for me or ChatGPT?
Oh, I have a gazillion questions here. I keep getting more all the time. I'm just scanning through to see how can AI best help people with disabilities?
Is that for me or for this?
Oh, that's for our friend.
Okay.
Hey, I can use this in my presentation tomorrow.
There you go. Assistive technologies, accessible communication,
Okay.
visual impairment solutions, personalized learning, mobility assistance, healthcare monitoring, accessible content, social interaction, employment opportunities, emergency response.
Outstanding. Way cool. Thank you.
It even numbered it and bolded it. Isn't that something? Yeah, I mean, it's extremely impressive, ChatGPT is.
Yes, that got me right there.
Yeah. Any other questions for me or for ChatGPT? Otherwise, I think I'm going to wrap this up.
I have a ton of questions literally here, and I will go through. I will save my chat. I've already saved it once, and I will either go into chat. Bill can help me, and we'll come up with answers that you would have gotten online here. Should you apologize if you make a mistake in your? That's for ChatGPT. Should you apologize if you make a mistake in your calculations?
Yes,
Yes.
it's generally good practice, and they tell you why. Very emotionally intelligent for a chat bot, right?
Mhm. This is for you. What did your MIT course suggest might be the future for determining the thought process behind AI decisions? That is how to delve into the background inputs to a final output.
Yeah, so they did talk about transparency and about making it, and I know a lot of like ChatGPT, you're not going to see this, but a lot of the underlying technologies, the engines themselves that, things like this run on, they do give you the opportunity whenever you ask for a question, you can say, show me how you derive this answer. And it'll take you through, like, I know we mentioned neural nets previously. It'll take you through the path through the saved information that it has, show you where it's getting the information, the decisions that took it at each step through the way, and show you how to get to the endpoint. As a user of systems like this, you probably won't have access to that information because it would give too much away as far as the proprietary building blocks of the tool that you're not supposed to be privy to.
Mhm.
But for the engineers developing the system, they would have access to see, mostly for troubleshooting. But for us, we treat it as the black box, garbage in, garbage out.
Okay, what does ChatGPT stand for? I mean, not chat, but what does GPT stand for?
Why don't we ask?
Oh,
Oops.
what a concept.
Yeah.
No, just GPT.
Well, it'll cover
Yeah,
the whole thing. Chat generative pre-trained transformer.
It's a variant of something.
Well, we knew the G was probably going to be for generative, but I wonder if they used itself to name itself.
And really, my one last thing. Do you have anything about comparing Google's Bard versus ChatGPT versus Bing's version of ChatGPT?
I don't. ChatGPT is the only one I've really played around with of that list.
Cool. I'm gonna have 16,000 pages to print out here with questions, but thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time today. This was so totally clear of a complete overview of everything. And you only talked in just plain old non-tech speak, which is way cool.
That's what I was trying to do. And
We
I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to copy this and send it back to you in email. And if you want to send me along any questions for me, not for ChatGPT, people can log in themselves and post those to ChatGPT. But if you have any more for me, please send them along, and I'll do my best to get answers to them.
I certainly will. And Mr. Kennedy, please close the chat box.
I was going to say, and if you think of any questions afterwards, you can always send them to Judy Tallur at APCUG or J Tallur, and she can get them on to Adam for his expertise change. I'd like to thank Adam personally, since he's a member of my club, and thank him for jumping out during his lunch period. And maybe
it's more fun than what I'm doing at work today. So like I said, I wish I could stay around longer, but I got to get back to it. Well,
we really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us. Hope to see you sometime in the future.
You definitely will.
Great.
And tell your in-laws their dog was very good.
I will. They're actually both asleep right now. Both the cats are asleep, probably upstairs. So.
Well, we won't say that has anything to do with the presentation, but it just, there's no excitement going on outside.
Sure,
all right, thanks a lot.
All right.
We're going to make a switch now, and we want to continue talking about AI, and we're going to do this in two phases. Phase one is that we have some people who, thanks to following directions from before, when Judy said we were going to do this, please email and say that you've got some information to share. So we have some specific people who are going to be sharing some information about either how their group is using AI or how they are using it individually. And then once those scheduled speakers are finished, we'll open things up and let anybody share and talk about AI, and we'll see where it goes from there. So Judy, we need to have the first person raise their hand so I can find them to let them speak.
That would be Sandy Ruth from the Lorain County Computer Club in Ohio.
Sandy, it's easier than going through 160 people. Just hit your raise hand, you'll go to the top of my list and I can hit your button.
you go.
Thank you.
And then Bill James and then Ray Baxter.
And I'd like thank Sandy for taking part. Again, she is part of my region, so it's exciting to have her here with us. So Sandy, give me 1 second. Oh yeah, you can start to unmute now. I think it said. You're good.
Judy suggested I mention how I used ChatGPT to create a resume for my grandson. And this was early on when I first ChatGPT had just been released. But I was trying to impress my grandson by, so he's 16 years old and doesn't have much work experience. So I gave a very thin description, write a resume for a 16-year-old who has done yard work and shelf stocker and so on. And, you know, quickly it came back with this beautifully formatted resume, all looking very professional, elaborating on what a yard work helper probably was doing, and making a shelf stocker sound like a very good job. And I was amused because it added the section and called it volunteer. And it just said any town parks and recreation and gave some rough dates. But I really didn't have anything that showed that he had volunteered for anything, but I considered it kind of a placeholder. Like it should have, or consider that it might have a section on volunteer experience. So it was very general information that we could easily copy and paste over. And then it summarized his skills and gave his education, because I guess I just gave the name of the city, and it said expected graduation. I kind of got a kick out of that because I'd given it his age, and references available on request. So it came up with a really very nice looking resume within less than 5 minutes, with just some very thin descriptors of what the experience was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really, when I used to work at the library, the public library, one of my duties was in the computer room, and we'd help people with resumes all the time, and trying to get them to structure, put it in a format or make it look useful was a real challenge that we would have loved to have this option then. But now we have it, and it works pretty well.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, because with the volunteer stuff, it's extremely important for if he's planning on going to college, university, whatever. Yeah. JC, it's important to have that volunteer experience on there, and some schools require it. High schools require it, some don't. Right. But that's very important, because many of them don't have a job that, they can. Yeah.
We just hadn't thought of it because I was just doing it so quick, but now I know.
And that was a nudge you probably got from other job descriptions for kids that age. That's cool. Yeah. Sandy told me that several months ago, and in May, I'm on the curriculum committee for a junior college that's part of the Los Angeles consortium. We meet once a year to talk about the classes that the business department is offering, the types of software that they should be using. That's my part, and the hardware and stuff. And they were worried about AI, and they didn't know how they should approach it. And I remembered what Sandy had said, and the business communications guy, I said to him, do you talk about resumes? He said, it's the last thing we do. And I said, why don't you have your students create their own resume, and then have AI in the classroom create another one for them? He thought that was the best idea that ever came down the pike. And I just had to laugh about it, because I got it from Ohio, and it came to Southern California and the San Fernando Valley, and he literally could not wait to do that with his students. You never know when something you have learned from a user groupie that you can use in a completely different place and time and atmosphere. So remember those things. Ray Baxter, you're on. Ray Baxter raising his hand so you can easily find him. Ray Baxter's no longer here. Am I correct, John?
I am here, alive and well.
There you are. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. So I started using OpenAI. If you go to openai.com, that gives you access to ChatGPT, and I was able to create a free account back in January. Now, in the beginning, the servers could not handle all the people who were trying to use it at the same time. So I found myself at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get on, and it worked. But I'm happy to say that there's no longer, they must have added new servers because there's no longer any kind of sign-on issue. Now, some of you probably know me from my involvement with Tech for Seniors on Monday morning. I usually provide a music-related segment on a singer. So before AI, I would spend easily up to 2 hours or more doing research on Wikipedia and other sites like that, and then forming the narrative and the commentary that I would have about the singer and their history in the music business. And then I'd play a corresponding YouTube video. Well, when I started using ChatGPT, I would issue a prompt that said something like, write a 300-word report on the life and music involvement of Linda Ronstadt. And within seconds, my commentary would be prepared. Now, some of the rules I've put in place. I always give credit to where I obtained the information in my commentary. I wanted the people who are hearing it to know my comments as compared to those that are coming from AI. I always add personal comments because I find the information I get is never really complete as far as I'm concerned. As an example, regarding Linda Ronstadt, ChatGPT made no mention that her singing career, professional singing career, began as the lead singer of a trio known as the Stone Ponies, and they had a hit song called Different Drum. Nor did it mention anything about her romance with Governor Jerry Brown in the 1970s. I mean, that's germane, right? So the bottom line, AI can save you much time when doing research, but you still need to make sure what is provided is complete and accurate. And for ChatGPT, their information is only current up to about, I think it's September of 2021. So I will use Google Bards when I need to get something more current.
Cool. Thank you. And off to Bill James, who probably uses it almost on a daily basis.
Thanks, Judy. I do use it probably on a daily basis. I enjoy writing a lot, and I am responsible for doing a publication for my club. And one of the things that we always have a problem with is getting our president to contribute. So I take it on myself to create a topic and let GPT complete it. Now, my preference for AI is Open GPT. I find it more user-friendly than I find Bard. But I use that. I also use it to create outlines for presentations, such as our presenter did. I've used it to create just poems of different types, just a variety of things. I have even upgraded to the paid version because I'm so much impressed with it, and because I get a lot of use out of it, I just feel that I should contribute to the development of AI. And some of the things I've been reading that's kind of disturbs me is that I know my philosophy has been privacy is, out the window, and it has been for some time due to our work with social media. So I've seen some instances where there's been recommendations to put in phony information. Well, that totally defeats the purpose. I mean, if you want the bot to be more intelligent and be able to be more effective, then we should try to be as honest with it as you expect it to be honest with you. So I really think that I totally agree with a lot of the things that our presenter said, particularly about how we should interact with it, and that it's not going to be replacing anyone. It's just a tool, and that's what I use it for, as a tool to help me with my writing skills and be more productive. And I can it shortens your time immensely. When you have a complex project that you want to work on, you can use AI to give you an outline, give you some ideas. So it's really a wonderful tool. And so if you are writing a newsletter in your club and you're stuck for ideas, use ChatGPT to get the to get a start. Put in a topic and let it flush it out, and then you can just flush it out yourself, and you'll be able to create great newsletters. And if you're not creating a newsletter, maybe ChatGPT will be a tool that you could use to help start one.
Did you put your little presentation together like I asked, or you said you were going to, about showing us one of Rodney's?
I did. I have. Well, I have. I have
and a
to share
couple of poems?
I have to share my screen.
Please do.
All right.
And I'll let everybody know the one thing we're not talking about today is copyright information, because none of us have a clue what's really going on in the world about that.
So what I'm going to do is just go to one of my newsletters that I did. Oops. All right. Of course, he writes something almost every week, but we'll just choose one. This is the week of the 13th. And so this was from the president. And what we've been having a membership drive. And so some of the things that we wanted to talk about was nurturing our future and sustaining the success of the club. So it writes, "Dear CCOKC members, I hope this letter finds you in good health and high spirits. As we gather here today, we're reminded of the remarkable journey of the CCOKC organization has undertaken together. Our shared dedication to learning, growth, and community building has brought us where we stand today, at the crossroads of opportunity and responsibility." And then it goes in and talks about our success, visions and mission, inclusivity and diversity, continuous learning, collaborative initiative, engagement, adaptability, leadership. So that was just one. Now, each one of these topics, I went in and took a look at that to make sure that we, in fact, were doing some of those things, or these were some of the things we could possibly do. Another one was, I think this is the one that Judy was referring to.
The one about the heat.
About the heat, and that was,
And if anybody wants to read any more of these, you can go to ccokc.org. And their website is a little over a year old, and it is a new WordPress website.
Oh, this was what I didn't find the one about the, I don't know what I did with the one about the heat, but anyway, there was one about celebrating National Friendship Day. Our newsletter comes out every Sunday. And so on that particular day, it was National Friendship Day. And so we talked about celebrating National Friendship Day, National Family Day, and the gratitude for your membership support. It says, I hope this finds you. This is kind of a cliche because most of the ChatGPT starts out with this way, but since this is our president, I want to keep it as personal as possible. So I allow that to that his letters always start out in this manner. So it says, first today, Sunday, August 8th is National Friendship Day. And it goes on to tell, about how it, let's take a moment to appreciate this incredible bond of friendship that have blossomed within our club. So it tailors it to our organization. And I just go through and
Read the next to last paragraph.
next to last paragraph is that in the conclusion, let's celebrate National Friendship Day and National Family Day with joy and gratitude, while also taking care of ourselves during the hot weather. Our collective passion for technology and our bond as a community will undoubtedly propel us to new heights. Thank you once again for being a part of the Computer Club of Oklahoma City. Here's to many more fruitful and enjoyable moments together. Wishing you all the best.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing. So this is one of the ways you could easily and quickly use it for your group. And now it's open to anybody who wants to talk to us about how they are using ChatGPT or their user group is using ChatGPT. This is one of those sessions when we all learn a lot of stuff that other people are doing. Bob G., you are on. Unmute, please.
I think we're still sharing somebody's screen.
Yeah.
Fine, I'm
Yeah,
trying
you know,
to unsure it. Just a second.
Bill will take care of that.
he's got to figure out how to do it on Mac. Well, we do that for those new too, that if you do want to share during this time, because we have so many people here, don't raise your hand physically because I can't see everybody screen on one screen. So what we do is there is a raise hand button in their toolbar, which I have physically placed there. It will never move. Raise your hand like the three that have done so that you go to the top of the list so we can find you so that you can be called on and not just kind of interrupt somebody.
So Mr. G, are you sharing something with us or do you just wanted to let him know?
No, just gonna talk. ChatGPT, Bard, there are literally hundreds of different ways you can use AI to help in creating content. I use it daily, several times a day. And I use it not only for creating written content, but also for visual content. And there are programs that will literally take your text and turn it into a video with included videos that reflect what you're trying to say in a way that's visually appealing to those that are watching it. But you can also use AI for more than just facts, and you always have to check its facts because sometimes they're outright lies. And if you don't check it for facts, then you become a liar, okay? So be careful of that fact. But you can use it for other things like entertainment. I, for instance, use it to create stories. And stories don't necessarily have to be factual. Bob 3160 has already conquered Mars, has already created a habitat on Mars and on many other planets. And I'm doing that for lots of things. I also use ChatGPT to gather facts for little known towns throughout the country in all the different states. And what I intend to do on that thing is to gather 10 little known towns or villages in each state as each state becomes a part of the union, and how it is important within the formation of the US. So that'll keep me busy for a while. I'm now on state number 4. There are 50 states and 10 towns in each state. So hopefully, if I live long enough, there'll be a history of all those things. But it's because of things like AI that this kind of a job can be done. Otherwise, there just isn't enough time. It's a tool. Use it as a tool. Just don't allow it to be the final conclusion.
Thank you. And you might think about El Segundo in California. It was the home of Standard Oil, and it was the second refinery in California. The first was in Martinez, Richmond area below San Francisco.
That's a long way before I get to California.
No, I know. Well, it's a C, but it won't have my little league team won the world championship this weekend, which was way cool. When I was in school there, we went to the water polo. The water polo team went to the Olympics. So see, there's history that you would get about the water polo team, maybe. Murray, you're on.
Okay, thank you. Well, I wanted to just mention that my very first effort with a ChatGPT, my paternal grandparents and their ancestors were all from a little area called Lycksele, Sweden, which is what used to be part of Lapland. And I asked ChatGPT to please tell me what the socioeconomic conditions were there at the end of the around the 1890s. And it came back with this glowing report of how the land was so rich, farming was so good, there was lots of industry and everything. And I thought, well, gee, why did so many people emigrate at that time if the things were so wonderful? So then I just simply added, please make the story historically accurate. And it came back with the exact opposite. The land was very poor. About the only agricultural thing you could do was raise reindeer. There was no industry. People were practically living on the poverty line. So that reinforces, check your facts, make sure that you're careful and you do check your facts. The other thing that I tend to use more now for things that are current is Bing, mainly because ChatGPT was trained back a couple of years ago. And for example, the last question I asked Bing was, tell me the 8 best OpenWRT compatible routers and in 2023. Now, ChatGPT couldn't have answered that because it wouldn't have any information about 2023, whereas Bing can find those things. And I find that Bing will very often get me to the right data a lot faster than I would with Google, for example. So that's my experience, and I do use it almost daily. One or the other, or both.
Thank you.
But Bing is a search engine. It's not the same as ChatGPT.
Yes, it is.
But it does create stories and things for you. You can do a lot with it. You can do a lot more than just search. I get asked it to write the same story about Sweden for me, and it did a good job.
Mm-hmm. And Sue Mueller, who gave a presentation about the criminals in your background, two Wednesday workshops ago and a Saturday safari about her new technology, let us know that she had searched for somebody, and then ChatGPT let her know that it was all the information was bogus. And she would have been with us today, but somebody scheduled a presentation for her, not APCUG, and gave her the wrong time. So she said she has searched again with both Bard and ChatGPT, and she got the same thing both times. So that's interesting. But they did tell her that the information was bogus. So
I think that would be an interesting I think that would be an interesting conversation, but I tend to disagree. I think Bing is a search engine that uses AI, and ChatGPT is a different animal altogether. So I don't think we should confuse the two.
Okay. Joe Nowak, you're on.
Here we go. All right. 2 points. Number one, folks are talking about checking the information that you get from the AIs. And one of the lesser known features, I guess, with Google Bard, when you get a response from Google Bard at the bottom of the screen, you get a series of little icons. There's a thumbs up, a thumbs down, there's a slider section, and then there's a little Google button. If you click on the Google button, it'll give you the things to ask Google about to make sure that it is telling the truth. So that's something that folks should know. And I use a totally different aspect of AI daily. It's called Night Cafe. It's an aggregator for some of the text to graphic items that are out there, models that are out there, where you type in text and you get a picture for it. Bob alluded to that a little bit earlier, not to that particular one, but he talked about generating images and the like. And that's what I use. The background that I have today on my screen is generated by that. It's supposed to be a saxophone player. Also when I'm not on the picture, that's a picture of Don Quixote in the 21st century, going after a modern day windmill. So you can come up with lots of interesting things in different styles, etc. And finally, the quantum physics conversation that was taking place earlier with the speaker today. If you don't understand that, you can always say, make sure you explain this to a 5th grader, and it will bring it down to a level where a 5th grader could understand it, or at least have a chance of understanding it. So those are some things that I've been doing with AI. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you. Dale, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
It's sort of a tag question to what he just discussed, but I've noticed that several presenters that check the facts. And if you check the facts with different AI, I don't know if, I just guess I'm not too trusting of checking facts with the same operating system. I don't know, maybe libraries will become popular again, so you can actually see what's been recorded, although many of those things were up to the author to present it factually. But I just check the facts, but you're checking the facts with more AI, so I'm just see that as a circular argument.
Fact checking is not done within the AI you use to present, to give you the information. It's done with outside sources, not related to the Chat GPT or Bard. And you can also ask the chat bot itself to give you references, which is what I always do. And then you can go from there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're just using a different AI source, and I don't know, depending on the Chat GPT or any other chat bot, whatever, to give you a good source to against its own facts, it's a little concerning to me.
Well, you can use the online encyclopedias that are available. You can use I don't know how much trust you have in Wikipedia, but that's another source. All those will bring up.
I have very little confidence in Wikipedia, or not much, let's put it that way.
And I do say, Dale, that most of us who give presentations check that we are saying straight scoop about what we are telling people. Otherwise, we'll all get hung out to dry if we're giving members of user groups the wrong information.
And the other thing to remember is garbage in is garbage out. So
Yep,
that's
yep.
another thing that you have to be aware of when you're using any kind of query.
Right, and that was
Yeah,
there.
I guess what I'm saying
AI.
is, how can you determine garbage in, garbage out? How do you know if it's garbage in?
Fact check
and
it
you
yourself.
think it's factual? That's it's like a
Fact check
circular thing.
yourself.
A Google search is based on information that it acquired from including libraries. Okay. The books have all been converted to digital, and they make up the information that you do when you do a Bing search, a Google search. That's how you check to see what you get from ChatGPT or Bard.
Mhm.
When it gives you a fact of some kind, check it through different sources. You can't, you run to the local library, find a book that has a reference if you ever expect to put anything together. It's just not enough time in a day to do that kind of fact checking.
And what Bob just said, conscientious people who have been putting presentations together for 1,000 years always fact check their stuff before they go. And I want to tell you, Bob, my Google friend over here wants to start fact checking something.
Mine too.
Lloyd, Lindsay, you are on. Please unmute yourself.
Okay. My question actually is related to exactly what you folks were talking about, and that is about whether or not ChatGPT will give you references to where it got the information. And I realized they were talking about, somebody was talking about proprietary. They might not want to tell you how they arise at this. But Bob mentioned something. I just want to clarify this because this is maybe going to answer my question. And that was, if you ask a question to ChatGPT and say, could you please provide references? They will give you some type of reference of where you can go to get that information?
Exactly that. That's exactly what they will do.
Well, that's my question. That was my question. So basically, you can at least get a starting point of where to look. I've always found that if you really want to get something factual, Wikipedia is pretty good because they'll give you references, because a lot of people are academic oriented, and they do provide the references when they make a comment to substantiate where they got the information from. So Bob, thank you very much. And actually you stole my question. So go ahead. Somebody else can go ahead now.
I find that Bing Chat gives you references, little citation numbers, you know, when they're teeny tiny little numbers, and you instantly can click on those, go to wherever they got the information from. And ChatGPT, according to my question, and Google's Bard don't do that. Okay,
one last question then. With Bing Chat, how do you access Bing Chat? Just put in chat,
Via Edge.
Yeah, okay.
On my Edge, it's in the upper right-hand corner. You just click on it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Huey, the knowledge of the whole world about AI. Speak to us, please.
Oh gosh, where do I start?
I know. Hey, wait a minute. We have another 45 minutes, maybe.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to give some generalities. The first thing I do want to say is it was a good presentation. It was a different approach than most of us probably do when we talk about AI, and I thought he did a great job. I'm immersed in this AI stuff, and I have been following the last count was 16, but I know I'm well over that now. Newsletters about AI that I get either daily, weekly, or monthly. And each one talks about all kinds of new things, and they all have links in them. So I'm clicking on those links, and I spend an awful lot of time taking a look at all these different tools that are available. And I've got some videos out there. I've got one that talks about just the newsletters that I subscribe to, and some of the best ones that I found, and some of the ones that I do subscribe to. Those are all on my channel on YouTube. But I've also done several videos on AI, and all user groups are welcome to use any or all of them, or any part of any of them. And then I also have, well, there's one more item that I do want to mention, and I did find one tool that all you have to do is put in a short sentence. And the sentence I put in is, what is an AI prompt? And it created an entire video, and I could tell it what time, how long I wanted it. I did this one for 2 minutes, so it gave me a 2-minute video. And that's also on my YouTube channel. So the AI has become so good that it can create just from one statement an entire video, and it just amazes me. And the final thing is, with all these tools and all these companies that are starting with their startups, they start up with almost nothing, then they get people to invest money in them. It's going to come to a point, either they're going to have to get swallowed up or closed down because they run out of money, or they're going to become successful. And it's just become amazing how many tools there are out there that have invested thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in investment money to have them. And most of them are really beta, because every day they're adding more to it. They're telling you how excited they are to what they're working on. So they're just startups, and it's something to really follow. And I'll leave it at that. And
do you have all of your AI videos under a playlist where?
No, because they're just there, because there's so many different aspects of AI that just calling it AI would be a real long list, and they're so different, some of them. So just kind of look them over. You'll see which ones are AI.
And if you have not used AI before, the first video you should look at is how to create a prompt.
And that's the 2-minute one that somebody else that was done it automatically.
And that's critical. You have to know what you're asking for, short, concise, whatever, a full sentence, but that is one thing you need to learn first of all. And Microsoft has invested $1 billion in ChatGPT. I think what they'll do is, like so many times at the Southwest Tech Conference, we'd have 2 sponsors and they'd merge. Next year we had 1 sponsor. And I think that might happen with a lot of the little brand new chat folks out there. They might just get gobbled up like Microsoft does and call it their own stuff. Murray, go ahead, Huey.
And the ones that are free, they're not going to be around long unless they do charge, because it's very expensive to run any of this AI. And I think it was ChatGPT, I think it is, or OpenAI is their outgo is like $77,000 a week that they spend just to be able to get answers. Not what the answers are or store them or anything. It's just very expensive. And so some of these companies are asking for different amounts for subscriptions. Sometimes they're $8, $10, $12, $20 a month. Some are $30, some are $40. I even found one, it was $119 a month to subscribe to it. So they are asking money, and they really, some of them deserve it, or they're not going to make it. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Murray.
Okay, Well, I have to say, and they are the new kids on the block. So if you like what you're using, pay for it. That's what Bill said. You know, he's using it, he likes it, so we got the membership. Murray.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just wanted to mention that I started out in AI. My PhD thesis, which was in 1968, was actually on machine learning. So I've been in the area for a long time. I started working on it in 1964. So that's when I started playing with AI before it was nearly as popular as it is today. But I did want to just say one more thing about Bing. I just asked it to write me a little novel, or an introduction to a novel, very much like the robot ones this one was for a mystery novel. It wrote me this little, very nice introduction to a mystery novel, giving it a key phrase that I asked it for. And then afterwards, I asked, can you tell me what is the name of this mystery novel? Because if it was just a search engine, it would have found this from somewhere. And it says, I'm sorry, but I can't provide you with a mystery novel because I generated this example using the phrase for you. And so, and if you like, I'll generate a title for you. So it's certainly a lot more than just a search engine. It can create your stories for you too. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And we go over to George.
Hi, I'm going back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going back to the lady who was talking about not trusting everything that interworks with one AI source or multiple AI sources. Sabine Hossenfelder is a science writer. She's really very good, and she's done an excellent YouTube video on doing your own research. The questions you have to ask before you start doing the search through the materials. And one of the points she makes is, you know, the references that are in Wikipedia, you have to click them and read them, because sometimes the contents contradict what is being written in the Wikipedia. So I would recommend that people that are into doing their own research view her video. And her name is Sabine Hossenfelder. Probably those people who are into the physics stuff are familiar with her. Thank you.
Thanks. Steve Parker.
Yeah, Bob, when you ask for references, is there any possibility that it makes any of them up?
Huey. Bob.
It'll give a URL, but if it's coded, it will,
yeah,
it will 404.
Yeah,
it can make up. It can make up towns. It can make up references to towns. As I said, I've asked for information about small towns and how they played an important role in the development of the U.S. And in one case, it actually made up a town. It made up references to the town. It made up information about a town. And if I hadn't gone somewhere to verify the name of that town, I would have been a total utter jackass when I put that stuff out for everybody else to look at. Okay. So again, that's why I said fact check. It can be very, very believable in what it gives you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the truth.
that was like what Sue was looking for in her genealogy presentation in technology.
Yep.
It was way cool, but it was totally bogus.
In my AI presentation, I have the club, or I do a question about the club itself. And boy, ChatGPT is great at giving me an answer for how great this club is, how long it's been around, its phone number, how many members it has. It sounds really great, no matter which club I ask the question about. But when we do some fact checking, it turns out that yeah, it's a great story, but it's not a factual story.
Mhm. That happened with APCUG.
Yep.
Some of it was correct and some of it was out of whole cloth. Joel, you're on.
One of those questions that was asked earlier in the ChatGPT was about, I think, first computers, and the one that came up with the ENIAC as the first electronic digital computer. And there was a very long-term legal dispute that wasn't resolved until 1973 that says that the Tanasoff-Berry computer, which was operational in 1940, was the first electronic digital computer. It's been a couple of decades since I was forced to study computer history in grad school, but some of those things stay with you. And of course, if you don't make it an electronic digital computer, the Harvard Mark I was out in early 1940s before the ENIAC was operational. So it all depends on what questions you ask. It's probably harder to fact check the facts that it doesn't even list as opposed to the ones that it does list. And another thing that occurred to me, all you need to do is to have your processing of information that you feed into the system include one fictional work that it thinks is nonfiction, and you could get all sorts of interesting facts into the system, like fictional towns, fictional people.
And I just Googled Babbage, and it said he conceptualized and began developing the difference engine in 1822, and it was considered to be the first automatic computing engine that was capable of blah, 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 blah.
But of course, he never completely implemented
Right.
it. It was too expensive to implement in his day and age because they just didn't have the ability to make mechanical parts to the degree of precision needed. It was like 20,000 pounds back in those days, which would be enormous amounts of money these days.
Yep. And Richard Bradford, it's your turn.
Yeah, something a little bit different. Our microcontroller special interest group have been using it to actually generate snippets of computer code to compile to use in their microcontroller programs. So you can actually ask it for computer code to then be compiled and used.
Okay, you guys. Oh, hi, Kurt. Your turn.
Yeah, Robert's comment just reminded me of something that I did. If we go back 25 years ago, a lot of us were probably pretty fluent in writing batch commands and command lists and things like that. I found that I had a need to take and build some directories on a recurring basis with a particular date format in them. And I could have gone out and dug through batch commands and whatnot. But I asked ChatGPT to take and write me a batch file to build a directory where the directory name included the date in the form of YYYY-MM-DD. And it took me about it took less time to get an answer to that than it did to write the question. I was quite impressed. Saved me a lot of time.
And it's just not that they can type faster, right? Bill Ginsberg, it's your turn. Please unmute.
There we go. Are we hear me now?
Yep.
Last week on 60 Minutes, a white hat hacker did a demonstration using AI to clone the voice of an on-air host. AI called her assistant and asked the assistant to find and read her passport number, which her assistant did, never realizing she was not talking to her coworker, but the host, but to a laptop computer. And Alan Turing, are you listening? And I mean, this was a good white hat hacker not showing how she did it, but it only took her 5 minutes to clone the voice. Now that host was a public figure with a lot of information. For most people, they don't have your voice. But any comments about that?
I asked a question at the last FBI scams meeting, the LA group, about the grandparents scam and AI. And that was one of the things they mentioned, that the kids are all out on, you name it, and that they're getting their voices captured. And the grandparent scam is up so high in percentage of that because they are the real voices. And then they also let me know that all scams are up percentage-wise because of AI. And then last week, I attended another meeting put on by AARP and the state of California, some organization. And they had a guy there who did exactly what Bill was talking about. He created 2 videos, and you would see the guy sitting cross-legged on a bed. And he was the one theoretically that put the video together from capturing a kid's voice. And then it would show the older person on the grandpa or the grandma on the other end reacting to it. And it was quite a wonderful visual description of what everything is capable of these days. And of course, he gives classes and all that good kind of stuff. So it was easy for him to do. And it is so easy to do. And everybody should tell their grandkids, their great grandkids, you need to have a word that is only, no, thank you, Tom, I appreciate that nod, that only the family knows. And unless that word is said, it's not your grandkid.
That's what I've been telling my family.
Yes.
And I got a telephone call from my grandson. And I said, that's wonderful. My daughters never gave me one. I'm so glad to have one. And he hung up.
Oh.
I asked for the name of my oldest granddaughter because that's the call I got, was from my oldest granddaughter. And of course, that was the end of that conversation because they didn't know it was the name of the granddaughter.
And how long ago was that, Bob?
Oh, this is 5 years back.
You know, so, but
Yep.
yeah, so in my
It's
case,
been around for a long time.
in my case, it would be Grammy. If they called and asked for grandma or Nana or something like that, I would know it wasn't anybody who belonged to me because I'm Grammy. So it can be as simple as that.
The problem is when you get one of those calls, automatically it tugs at your heartstring and you have to be extremely careful and you have to keep your cool about you that you don't fall for that kind of a scam. Because it's not like a normal scam where a salesperson called you. This is a grandchild in trouble. And if you don't keep your wits about you because they try to make it general, you will wind up falling for it. And it could cost and has cost quite a few people a lot of money.
On 60 Minutes, they showed a number of people who spent, lost an amazing amount of money.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And when you, and everybody needs to report these things to your local police department. You need to report it to the FTC, the FBI. They keep track. The government agencies per se can't sue to try to get your money back, but the San Diego attorney's office for the city, they sued for 9 grandparents across the United States. They got their money back for them. So it's critical that you tell everybody you know that if they get scammed, they need to talk to the authorities. And my 2 cents worth is everybody needs to create a script before they make that first call. So when you call the PD or the sheriff's department, and then you talk to this person or that person, you are always saying the same thing. Because when I taught classes in the morning and then in the afternoon, I'd think in the afternoon, oh, I already said that to them. And no, I hadn't. I was remembering my morning class. So a script is critical. Tom. You're on.
It's like the you can base your script off the military version of a situation report. It's a standardized reporting form. Lots of situations from people out in the field need to be reported back up to headquarters, and you just use these are the facts that you need to relay for each thing, and you just have that standardized report and you repeat it over and over.
Thank you.
Double echo the I just sent a child off to college, so I need to get that code word established. Thank you for the reminder. And report things to the FBI, ICC, the Internet Crime, the ICCC, the Internet Crime. And lastly, new technology is just a new playground for old scams. Every single thing that comes new, the stuff, from the old, if you still watch Perry Mason, you see the old romance letters, the same scams that were going on 60 years ago, 70 years ago, they happen today. And to amplify somebody else's point, Bob's point about keeping your wits about you. Attackers are always trying to use different pressures, fear, urgency, whatever, to get you out of your reasoning mind. And if you feel like you're being pushed, that's a huge red flag, a huge warning. Take a deep breath and think. If somebody's pushing on you that hard, they probably have an ulterior motive to separate you from your money, rather than if they don't want you in your rational mind for a reason. So take a step back, take a deep breath, and think about it if you feel that pressure.
Thank you. You are on my soapbox. I appreciate that. And we will hopefully have an AUSA from Central California giving us an AI and scams presentation during October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And don't forget, our Bob G gives a fantastic presentation. Book them early. Send me an email. His spreadsheet is filling up. Thank you. Bob, you're on.
Yeah, one more thing on the grandparent scam. With the fact that they now can clone voices, and we've had one in the news recently where the scam was that realistic because they had cloned the person's voice. You need that phrase or password to actually identify that person, because voice recognition isn't going to make a difference.
Bill, unmute, please. Thank you.
Okay. Another scam to be concerned about is Zelly, that the banks are really pushing using Zelly instead of checks. But there are apparently many people who have lost a great deal of money on Zelly. In one case, somebody copied a phone number, and when the money was being sent, it didn't go to the recipient, it went to the crook. And the banks are not standing behind this. If you have actually sent out the payment, they're saying that's up to you, not up to us. So I don't know what anybody can do about that except write checks and use a gel pen if you're writing the check, not an ordinary pen, because they're harder to erase.
But verify.
Yes, trust and verify. That is, anybody who gives a security presentation, almost all we talk about is trust and verify. Trust and verify it. And please do. If you are using a ballpoint pen or something like that, I want you all to go to your local office supply place and get a gel pen. If purple's your thing, you can use the purple or red or blue or black. I prefer that people don't use black, so the signature, when it's photocopied, you know which is the original. That's the law department here. But gel pens are critical. And Tom, you're on.
On the topic of the use of Zelle and the other person-to-person payment systems, this year in Frisco, Texas, a lady jogger was running in the morning. There was an adolescent saying, help, I need help. Can I use your phone? The lady jogger handed the individual an unlocked phone, and this 14, 15-year-old adolescent promptly dumped $4,000 out of the lady's bank account to his own using an instant payment app. And who would have, what a shame that someone has to be suspicious of a 14-year-old asking for help at 6:30 in the morning. But she's several $1,000s to the wiser now. And I would suggest that most phones are capable of dialing emergency services from the lock screen, and that you make sure your lock screen has your telephone on it and nothing else, and hand them a locked phone so that they can't get access to any other apps. Also make sure that notifications are suppressed on the lock screen, or at least notification content is suppressed on the lock screen so they don't see that you have various things. It may indicate that a message is present, but not the content thereof. And if you are so inclined to hand them a device, then hand them a locked device with limited access.
Do we have any more questions or comments about AI? Okay, more 2 cents. Oh, Huey, you're on. Unmute, please.
Yep. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention that for the Sarasota Technology User Group, I've put together a group once a month that I call it Let's Talk AI. And we just get in there and yak about AI and some of the things we've done or some of the things that are out there. I'll demonstrate a few things. I'll show some results of it and so on. Just a discussion group within, and we get, there's not many people that are that interested in the group, but there are a few, and it's enjoyable. We have a lot of fun and we learn a lot.
Thank you. And I have that link in the chat box too.
It's not open. It's just for members of the
is that the closed one? Okay, forget I said that then.
Okay.
But you could join.
That's right. We've got a lot of members from around the country who have joined STUG just to be a part of some of the groups that we have.
Yes. And it's thestug.org. And to close in on what Tom talked about, the phone, keep it locked. I attended a Computer Club of Oklahoma City presentation by one of their county deputy sheriffs, and she mentioned for seniors, if you're in the parking lot and you should, and somebody comes up and says, give me your car keys or give me your money, that you should have a set of keys that are bogus, your old car key, your old house key, and other things that you can pick up places, and and you take it and you throw it as far as you can, and then you run like crazy. I couldn't run, but that's a good thought. And if they ask for your money, you should have some bills, the binder clip, and it makes a good money clip, and you could have your money elsewhere, and when they say give me all your money, you'd have a 20 on the outside and maybe a 10 and a bunch of ones, and so they could see it, and you take it and you toss it and you hightail it the other way. So just some extra tips for seniors who might be targeted for some kind of theft. I appreciate everybody who spoke. I can't imagine that we don't have, out of 103 left, more people that aren't using AI. But don't forget, this is a presentation that's all about warts and all. You need to speak up and ask your questions and tell us your experiences, because it benefits all of us and our clubs that we belong to, because we can take new information back to them. Thank you to Adam, who is busy at work now. I have a feeling he works at home, but
part-time.
Part-time at home, okay, because those were not bank curtains in the background. But anyway, thank you so much for attending. I hope you learned a whole heck of a lot, and you can decide whether you want to join and do this or just listen to about AI and increase your knowledge until you're ready to get your feet wet. Over to you, Mr. Kennedy, and walk us off.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, talking about the pen, you weren't saying it right. You know, when we had the presentation, she told us it's a jail pen.
Oh,
Remember?
Oklahomans have accents. Who knew?
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for taking part too, and for Adam for being a part of this, our final workshop in August. And tomorrow becomes the unofficial end of summer because it's my birthday. And so that's it. Summer's over. We'll be back with plans for September and October. We've got the second week set. Linux probably will be back the third week. We've got a week of in October, hopefully set with our scams and AI. So we're trying to provide you these workshops, but we sure could use a few more presenters, especially if you've done a presentation for your group. That's how Adam got hooked into here. He did it for our groups. I said, okay, you've already done it. Just do it again. No prep for it, just do it again. And so a lot of you who have members in your club that have done a presentation, they can do a second one. They've already prepared it. Don't make them do a new one. Just say, hey, share it with the rest of us. There are a lot of us that like to know more about technology.